The roar of the crowd shakes the arena, a sea of flashing lights and restless energy. The world has witnessed battles between titans before, but nothing like this. Two legends, each a king in his own right, stand on the verge of an encounter that defies logic, time, and even the limits of human strength. On one side, the towering Colossus, a man whose very presence feels larger than life, Andre the Giant. On the other, the most feared knockout artist to ever step into the ring, a force of nature packed into a frame that shouldn't hold so much power, Mike Tyson. The thought alone is enough to send chills down the spine. What happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object? Tonight, the world will find out. It's impossible to ignore the weight of history pressing against this moment. Andre the Giant was more than a wrestler, he was a living myth. Standing at over 7 feet tall and weighing north of 500 pounds, his mere existence seemed impossible. He was called the eighth wonder of the world for a reason, and in his prime, no one could match his sheer dominance. No man could move him unless he allowed it. But Mike Tyson wasn't just any man. Exploding onto the boxing scene with a ferocity never seen before, Tyson became the youngest heavyweight champion in history, demolishing opponents with a blend of terrifying speed and raw power. His punches weren't just strikes, they were execution orders. Every fight felt like a hunt, with Tyson as the predator. And now, by some twist of fate, these two warriors stand on opposite ends of destiny, staring down a collision course that seems too unreal to be true. The air in the room feels different, charged with something primal, something ancient. This is more than a contest of strength or skill, it's a battle of legacies, a war between two forces that shouldn't even exist in the same reality. A wrestler's world and a boxer's ring are vastly different domains, yet tonight, the rules mean nothing. How do you even begin to compare two men who mastered completely different forms of combat? Tyson, built for explosiveness, a human wrecking ball designed to destroy with pinpoint accuracy. Andre, a mountain of a man who had shrugged off the attacks of giants before him, his endurance seemingly limitless. This isn't just sport, it's a clash of ideologies. The power of brute force against the precision of destruction. As the anticipation builds, so do the questions. Could Tyson's devastating power be enough to bring down a man the size of Andre? Could the giant's near-invulnerable frame absorb those legendary punches without crumbling? The crowd murmurs with speculation, each person envisioning a different outcome. Some believe the moment Tyson lands one of his infamous hooks, it's lights out, no matter how big the target. Others argue that no matter how fast or powerful Tyson is, Andre is simply too massive to be knocked out, too overwhelming to be stopped. The unknown is what makes this fight irresistible. It's a meeting of two different worlds, two different philosophies of combat, and no one can say with certainty what will happen when they finally meet in the center. Tyson, pacing like a caged animal, clenches his fists, his expression unreadable. He's been here before, under the bright lights, with the weight of expectations pressing against his shoulders. But this is unlike anything he's faced. Across from him, Andre remains motionless, his massive frame absorbing the scene like an ancient monument that refuses to crumble. He doesn't fidget, doesn't shift his weight, he simply exists, as if daring the world to try and move him. The contrast between them is almost surreal. Tyson is all coiled energy, the embodiment of controlled violence. Andre is calm, an unstoppable presence that doesn't need to chase its prey. Then, the moment arrives. The silence before the storm. Eyes lock, the unspoken challenge crackling between them. The world holds its breath, waiting for the inevitable. A fight that no one ever thought they'd see is about to begin, and the only thing certain is that nothing will be the same after this. The first movements are almost imperceptible, a shift in weight, a tightening of muscles, the moment before chaos erupts. Tyson inches forward, his every step measured, his eyes locked onto Andre with an intensity that could break lesser men. The giant remains unmoved, his expression unreadable, his massive frame absorbing the scene like an immovable fortress. The contrast between them is staggering. Tyson, coiled and dangerous, a storm barely held in check, while Andrew stands like an unshakable force of nature, unbothered, as if the fight itself is merely a formality. The crowd leans in, every breath held, waiting for the first blow, the first crack in the illusion of invincibility. Then, Tyson strikes. It's a blur of movement, faster than anyone expects for a man built like him. A left hook, a blur of muscle and bone, detonates against Andrew's ribs with the kind of force that has shattered men before. The sound is sickening, like a sledgehammer against stone. But the reaction is not what anyone expects. Andrew doesn't buckle, doesn't even step back. Instead, he exhales, a slow, measured breath, and then almost casually shifts his weight forward. It's a small movement, yet it forces Tyson to reset, as if he just realized he's trying to break down a wall with his bare hands. The audience stirs, murmurs rippling through the arena. This isn't how it's supposed to go. Tyson is used to watching his opponents recoil in pain, crumble beneath the weight of his fists. But Andrew, he absorbs it. The first seeds of doubt flicker in the air, and for the first time in a long time, Tyson is facing something unknown. He fires again, another devastating hook, this time to the jaw, a strike that has sent champions crashing to the canvas. But Andrew merely tilts his head, as if inconvenienced, his enormous frame acting as a buffer against the laws of physics. The tension thickens, and then, with a sudden, almost lazy motion, Andrew moves. His arm swings, not fast, but with a kind of force that doesn't need speed to be lethal. Tyson barely dodges, feeling the wind of the giant's strike rush past his face. If that had landed, he doesn't allow himself to finish the thought. He's in uncharted territory now, fighting a man whose strength defies understanding. Tyson's whole career has been built on fear, his ability to overwhelm, to shatter confidence before the fight even begins. But Andrew doesn't fear him. And that changes everything. The moment shifts. Tyson circles, looking for an opening, his mind racing. He can't win this like a normal fight. He has to be smarter, more precise. The size difference is too much. He can't rely on brute force alone. A different approach is needed, a strategy that doesn't involve standing toe-to-toe with a living mountain. He feints left, then explodes forward, aiming low. If he can work the body, chip away at the foundation, maybe he can make Andrew feel his power over time. But just as he moves, something unexpected happens. Andrew doesn't react as anticipated. Instead, he steps forward in action so deceptively simple, yet devastating in execution. His sheer weight and presence disrupt Tyson's movement, throwing off his rhythm for just a fraction of a second. And in that moment of imbalance, Andrew makes his move. A single massive hand reaches out and catches Tyson mid-step, gripping his shoulder with a force that instantly freezes the smaller man in place. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Tyson struggles, twisting, but it's like trying to break free from iron chains. The grip tightens. Not enough to harm, but enough to send a message. Tyson's eyes flash with something rare uncertainty. It's not just Andrew's size. It's his understanding of control. He isn't just absorbing the blows. He's dictating the pace of the fight, forcing Tyson into a reality where size and power matter more than speed. And then, in a move that shocks even the most seasoned spectators, Andrew does something no one saw coming. He lifts Tyson, just slightly, just enough to disrupt his footing. It's not a full-bodied throw, not a dramatic wrestling maneuver, but a reminder that this fight does not follow the rules of boxing. Tyson's feet barely leave the ground, but the message is clear. Andrew can do whatever he wants. The arena erupts in chaos. Commentators shout over each other. Fans leap to their feet, trying to process what they just witnessed. Tyson lands, immediately springing back, his face a mixture of frustration and something deeper calculation. He knows now what he's up against. The game has changed, and if he doesn't adapt, he won't survive. But there's something else, something no one is talking about yet. A subtle change in Andrew's breathing, a flicker of strain in his movements. Maybe, just maybe, the unstoppable force isn't as invulnerable as he seems. Tyson sees it, and that means the fight is far from over. Tyson rolls his shoulders, adjusting his stance, his mind racing. He has fought through wars, clawed his way out of impossible situations, but this is different. Andrew is not just another opponent. He's a force of nature, an immovable pillar that doesn't crumble under pressure. And yet, Tyson saw it the slightest shift, the barely noticeable strain. A man that big, that powerful, isn't invincible. Every fortress has a weakness, and if there's one thing Tyson knows, it's how to break through defenses. The crowd is roaring now, caught in the gravity of the moment. Tyson moves again, faster this time, weaving in and out, his fists flashing like lightning. He isn't throwing wild haymakers, he's targeting, dissecting, breaking Andrew down piece by piece. A brutal hook to the ribs. A quick uppercut under the jaw. Another shot, then another. He's no longer trying to knock Andrew down with a single blow. He's setting a trap, forcing the giant to react, forcing him to shift his weight in ways he doesn't want to. Andrew absorbs it, but now there's a difference. The movements aren't effortless anymore. His breathing deepens. His steps take just a fraction of a second longer. Tyson is doing something no one thought possible. He's making the giant feel human. But just as Tyson presses forward, sensing the momentum shift, Andrew does something that stops everything. A single hand reaches out, faster than expected, and catches Tyson mid-motion. Not a full grab, not an attempt to lift him this time, but just enough contact to disrupt his balance. And then, with the rawest display of power imaginable, Andrew pushes forward. It's not a punch, not a grapple, just pure force, like a mountain shifting. Tyson stumbles back, feet skidding, barely keeping himself upright. The impact isn't just physical, it's a reminder. The power gap is still there, and if he miscalculates for even a second, it's over. For the first time, they both stand still, breathing heavy, locked in an unspoken understanding. Tyson, the relentless predator, and Andrew, the immovable giant. Both have landed their best. Both have survived, but only one can finish this. And then, without warning, Tyson makes his final move. He rushes forward, not wild, not reckless, but precise. He fakes high, drawing Andrew's attention, then dips low, aiming for the one place that can't be trained, can't be conditioned. A perfectly placed, devastating body shot right into Andrew's liver. The reaction is immediate. The massive frame tenses, the breath catches. For the first time in the fight, Andrew stumbles. It's not dramatic, not a fall, but it's real. The fortress has a crack. The crowd gasps, stunned. Tyson doesn't hesitate. He presses in, hammering the same spot over and over, relentless, merciless. Andrew tries to steady himself, but the damage is done. His knees falter, his stance wavers. And then, the unthinkable happens. The giant drops to one knee. The arena explodes. Commentators scream in disbelief. The impossible has happened, Andrew the giant. The immovable force has been brought down. Tyson, chest heaving, doesn't celebrate. He watches, waiting, knowing that it isn't over until it's over. Andrew lifts his head, eyes fierce, and for a moment, it seems like he might rise again, like he might defy reality one more time. But then, something shifts in his expression. A slow exhale, a flicker of understanding. He knows. Andrew bows his head just slightly, then places his massive hand on Tyson's shoulder, a gesture of acknowledgement, of respect. The referee moves in, but there's no need. The fight is over, not with a knockout, not with a 10 count, but with something even more powerful. A moment of mutual recognition. The energy in the arena changes. The chaos quiets, replaced by something deeper. This wasn't just a fight. It was a battle of legacies, of two unstoppable forces testing each other, and in the end, it wasn't about winning or losing. It was about proving something to the world, to themselves. Tyson steps back, nodding once, then raises his fist in the air. The audience erupts again, this time not just for him, but for both of them. As Andrew stands, towering even in defeat, he looks at Tyson and smiles, a rare, genuine moment. And then, with the weight of legends, he turns and walks away, leaving behind a fight that will be remembered forever.